Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityaṁ bhāgavata-sevayā. Bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati nishtaki. Shrinvatam sakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantastavaya bhadrani vidhanoti suritsitam. Śrī Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadadhar Śrīvas Adi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda. Hare Kṛṣṇa Hare Kṛṣṇa Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varshya Aksharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Śrī Krishnaya Namastute. O Srimad-Bhāgavatam, I offer my humble respectful obeisance unto you. By reading you, one attains transcendental bliss, for your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So we are reading Granth Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 10, chapter number 3, entitled The Birth of Lord Krishna. And we read till text number 40 yesterday, so we will keep moving from that point and read text number 41. Adrishtavan yatam loke Shilaurdarya gunai samam aham sutovam abhavam Prishnigarbhaiti shrutaha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai. Since I found no one else as highly elevated as you in simplicity and other qualities of good character, I appeared in this world as Prishni Garbha, or one who is celebrated as having taken birth from Prishni. Purport. In the Treta Yuga, the Lord appeared as Prishni Garbha. Śrīla Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says, Prishni Garbha iti soyam Treta Yuga avataro lakshyate. Hare Kṛṣṇa. So who is speaking this verse?
The Lord Himself, Krishna Garbha.
The Lord Krishna is speaking actually.
Yes.
And he is reminding Devaki was Prishni and he was Prishni Garbha. So let's try to understand what are the qualities which make us dear in the eyes of the Supreme Lord. Since I found no one else as highly elevated as you in simplicity and other qualities of good character. So basically it covers everything. But one which is specifically mentioned here is simplicity. Shila Audarya Gunahi. Shila is good character, magnanimity, Audarya. The Lord is attracted by these wonderful qualities: tolerance, steadiness, patience, gratitude, forgiving, equipoised, simplicity, non-duplicity, honesty. There are so many discussions about these good qualities in the Bhagavad Gita as well. This is what makes us dear in the eyes of Lord. In the so-called material world, these qualities may not be respected or may not be very valued. Rather, oh, he's too simple. He's like, everyone makes kind of fun of him, or everyone thinks he's not. Oh, he's not very smart, and smartness basically is considered a little wicked in these. But a simple person who's honest, straightforward, is not highly respected these days, especially in the material world. The person who's diplomatic, the person who is very says some things, means something, and in the heart something. They are so-called leaders. They have a lot of followers. But in the eyes of Lord, simplicity is a great quality. Saralta hi Vaishnavta, Vaishnavta hi saralta. Saralta means again simplicity. So non-duplicity, purity, honesty, integrity. Then the Lord appeared, to the extent that the Lord was named by his mother, Prishni's son, Prishni Garbha. And the Prabhupada is quoting Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur also in the Treta Yuga, how he appeared. So quite straightforward. Any other comments anyone has? Okay, we'll read the next verse, 42. Yes, Vipul bro, you want to read?
Hare Kṛṣṇa devotees, Dhanava Pranam, all goes to Śrīla Prabhupada. Text 42. Sarvam punar evaham aditam asho kashyapat upendro iti bhikhato bamono ta cha bamona. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai. In the next millennium, I again appeared from the two of you, who appeared as my mother Aditi and my mother Kashyap and my father Kashyap. I was known as Upendro, and because of being a dove, I was also known as Baman. So Lord is telling his pastimes, and here we see that in the next millennium, that means in Treta Yuga, Prabhuji. Here, so you can correct me, and here with Mother Aditi and Father Kashyap, he came as a Bamandev, also known as Upendra. Back to Prabhuji.
Thank you. Thank you so much, bro. So Bali Maharaj and Vamandev was in which Manvantara? I don't recall exactly.
6th Manvantara is Vamandev, and 7th Manvantara is the Matsya. The Matsya, it ends with Matsya, starts with Matsya again comes in the, and then Vivaswan.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Mataji. And as we have discussed, same with like Varadev, he comes in 2nd, he comes in 6th Manvantara, both as Shvetavara and Raktavara. So the Lord can come in multiple, like in the previous verse we read about the Treta Yuga, but it's not specifically mentioned about which Manvantara, and every Manvantara has 71 Treta Yugas. So we don't have to get complicated there, but the whole point is Lord comes multiple times, multiple incarnations, like Varadev comes multiple times. So Upendra also can come multiple times. Prishni Garbha also can come multiple times. The Lord is free to come when he wants. He doesn't have to take our permission. We have to take his permission. So the point is, yes, again, he was born as the mother and the father, Aditi and Kashyapa. So Krishna is reminding of the previous births to his parents, right? This is another quality that we can distinguish. He is not an ordinary child, right? Ordinary child is is not coming out of the womb of the mother and speaking transcendental verses, right? The ordinary child is crying and crying and crying and crying, right? But here, Krishna is firstly how he appeared. That's also a big difference with transcendental jewels and Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. And now he is telling about the previous birth, not only his previous birth, but the parents' previous birth also. Can any child, have you heard anywhere in this world, India or America or US or Europe or Australia, anywhere, any child has done that? Maybe some children after like 10 years, there may be 1 or 2 videos. Oh, I remember maybe I was a fighter pilot before, maybe I was this, because of the past reincarnation. But just after birth, telling about parents' previous birth. So this is, again, one of the attributes which we can understand that we're not talking about an ordinary child, we're talking about the Supreme Lord Krishna. So we'll move on to the next verse. Anita Mataji has also joined. Are you in a position to read, Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji, मैं read नहीं कर पाऊंगी.
Okay, no problem, Mataji. Maybe Raghu Prabhu can read.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, devotees. Text 43. Trityesmin bhaveham vai tenaiva vapusatavam jato bhuyas teoreva satyam me vayatram sati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. O Supremely Chaste Mother, I, the same personality, have now appeared of you both as your son for the 3rd time. Take my words as the truth. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead chooses a mother and father from whom to take birth again and again. The Lord took birth originally from Sutapa and Srini, then from Kashyapa and Aditi, and again from the same father and mother, Vasudeva and Devaki. In other appearances also, the Lord said, I took the form of an ordinary child just to become your son, so that we could reciprocate eternal love. Jiva Goswami has explained this verse in his Krishna Sandarbha, 96th chapter, where he notes that in text 37, the Lord says, Amuna Vapusa, meaning by this same form. In other words, the Lord told Devaki, this time I have appeared in my original form as Sri Krishna. Srila Jiva Goswami says the other forms were partial expansions of the Lord's original form. But because the intense love developed by Srini and Sutapa, the Lord appeared from Devaki and Vasudeva in his full opulence as Sri Krishna. In this verse, the Lord confirms, I am the same Supreme Personality of Godhead, but I appear in full opulence as Sri Krishna. This is the purport of the words Tanaiva Vapusa. When the Lord mentioned the birth of Srini Garbha, he did not say Tanaiva Vapusa, but he assured Devaki that in the 3rd birth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, had appeared, not his partial expansion. Srini Garbha and Vamana were partial expansions of Krishna, but in his 3rd birth, Krishna himself appeared. This is the explanation given in Sri Krishna Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami. Hare Krishna. So here the Lord is explaining about his previous births, continuing to explain, and he sometimes appears as a Sri Krishna, as he has done here, or sometimes as a partial incarnation of the original form. So that's what I get from this. Basically, you can explain more, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So the word Tanaiva Vapu Satha. Vapu means form or body. So Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Prabhupada are mentioning here is quoting from the Shat Sandarbhas, Krishna Sandarbha, Amuna Vapusa, by this same form. So there are multiple incarnations, but the Supreme Lord is Avatari, is the Supreme. There is the Supreme Lord this time had come. This time means while he's talking to Devaki and Vasudeva. This was different from his incarnations as Varaha, Kurma, Matsya. So they are same, yes, they're all also Vishnu Tattva, but they are not the original Supreme Person, or like the candle example is given. So we have one candle, that's the original candle, and then that same candle lights the other candles. But there is a one original candle. So that original candle and the other candles may appear same. Yes, the same Tattva, Vishnu Tattva, but still there is an original candle. And that original candle is Supreme Lord Krishna. So in the very first line of the purport, the Supreme Personality of Godhead chooses a mother and a father from whom to take birth again and again. Very important point. And very different from human birth of ordinary child. They don't choose. They are the Maya Shakti, the Prakriti, the material nature chooses for them based on their inclinations, their desires, their past actions. The material nature will choose for them and give them the parents, which whether in X country or Y country or with whatever financial background or qualities background, mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance background, or devotee background. It all depends on the past of that jiva, the kind of activities, the kind of desires. But Supreme Lord is above all these modes, is above all these, and he chooses his parents. Okay, so we'll read the next verse unless anyone has any additional thoughts here. Anyone?
I just have one question. Is Lord Ramchandra considered as the original form?
Ultimately, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, Ramadi Murti Shukalani Amena Tishtan, Krishna Swayam Sambhava Paramah Puman. So, Lord Ram is also the incarnation of the Supreme Lord Krishna.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
But Prabhuji, still Lord Ram has four less quality than Lord Krishna.
But Prabhu, when we chant Hare Kṛṣṇa Mahamantra, Prabhupada said that Ram refers to Balram. Just if in case you wanted to explain that to somebody.
But again, Prabhupada also says they are non-different, right, Prabhuji?
Yeah, so non-different means, yes, they're non-different, same form. Like, well, all these are Vishnu avatars. Yes, they are all Vishnu Tattvas, whether it's Varadev or Vamandev, Kurmadev, Narsinghadev. But who is the source of all sources? Who is the source? Who is the director of all directors? Who is the master of all the masters? Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So that source of all the avatars, material creations, spiritual creations, shaktis, everything, that source is Krishna. Does that help?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
So that's the Prabhuji, we see all the 64 qualities only in the Supreme Person of God, like Krishna. no other incarnation has 64 qualities.
Yes, nice point. What are those 4 qualities? Extra?
Venu Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya.
Okay.
Then Radharani is only attracted to Krishna.
Anything else?
The 4 Madhurjas are Venu Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya, Lila Madhurya, and Prema Madhurya. Those are the 4 special quality Krishna has only. Mahaprabhu also had that, all those. Mahaprabhu, he just by his teacher, he attracted so many people.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Wonderful. Does that answer, Prabhu? Raghu Prabhu, does it clarify?
You know, it answers. Yeah, it's more complicated than I thought. That's an understatement. I know the whole thing is so complicated.
Brahmaji gets complicated. Brahmaji gets confused. What to speak of but the Jiva. Brahma is confused. But yeah, we have to try, right? Therefore, Prabhupada has given these wonderful bhakti and the purports in detail. And Brahmaji, talking about Brahmaji, he's speaking this verse, Ram Adi Murtishu, Ram Adi, right? Adi means etc. Ram Adi Murtishu Kala Niyamin Tishtan. There are different types of incarnations also. But good, nice question. Okay, who didn't get chance yesterday? We'll read next verse. Or didn't get chance so far today, or didn't read even yesterday? It's your turn to read.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, I can read.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, go ahead, Mataji.
I read, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji, you read and then
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everybody. Etadvam darshitam rupam prajanma smarana nanyame nanyatha madbhavam jnanam martiya lingena jayate. Translation by Prabhupada ki jai. I have shown you this form of Vishnu just to remind you of my previous birth. Otherwise, if I appeared like an ordinary human child, you would not believe that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, has indeed appeared. Purport. Devaki did not need to be reminded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, had appeared as her son. She already accepted this. Nonetheless, she was anxious, thinking that if her neighbors heard that Vishnu had appeared as her son, none of them would believe it. Therefore, she wanted Lord Vishnu to transform himself into a human child. On the other hand, the Supreme Lord was also anxious, thinking that if he appeared, please scroll down. The Lord, I have reached. The Lord was anxious. Average. Therefore, she wanted Lord Vishnu to transform himself into a human child. On the other hand, the Supreme Lord was also anxious, thinking that if he appeared as an ordinary child, she would not believe that Lord Vishnu had appeared. Such are the dealings between devotee and the Lord. The Lord deals with his devotees exactly like a human being. But this doesn't mean that the Lord is one of the human beings, for this is the conclusion of non-devotees. Avagyananti mam mudha manushim tanum asritam. Devotees know that Supreme Personality of Godhead under any circumstances. This is the difference between a devotee and a non-devotee. The Lord says, man manu bhava man bhakto, man yaji mam namaskuru. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee, offer obeisances and worship me. A non-devotee cannot believe that simply by thinking of one person, one can achieve liberation from this material world and go back home, back to Godhead. But this is a fact. The Lord comes as a human being, and if one becomes attached to the Lord on the platform of loving service, one's promotion to be transcendental world is assured. Hare Kṛṣṇa Prabhu. This text is again explaining the worries and the anxiety of Mataji Devaki. And he's also telling how human being thinks about Krishna as an ordinary person, but devotees do not. That's why Mataji Devaki asked Vishnu Bhagavan to take the form of a child that he wished to have. That's all, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you. Very nice. When the Lord, does ordinary activities, talking about Brahmaji, he also got confused in the Brahma Vimohan Leela. He also thought, what this ordinary boys, play and eating each other's jhuta and running after cows and playing with gobar, and doing little pranks, and playing with cows. This sounds very mundane. So Brahmaji also got confused, and he did the Brahma Vimohan Leela happened at that time. What to speak of the non-devotees? So they also think, oh, Krishna, he also had two hands. Oh, I like to dance with girls. He was dancing with girls. Oh, pretty much we are the same. Oh, he also died. A hunter, killed him. I also, my father or my grandfather died in this way or something. So they're not able to understand the greatness of the Lord and think the Lord is ordinary person. And the world is full of speculators. The world is full of atheistic mentality people who have so much propaganda going on, more than the devotees or the non-devotees doing propaganda about the unauthorized stuff. So they're not able to understand. They avajananti mam mudha, especially when the Lord comes in the human form. But time and again, Krishna shows unimaginable feats like Govardhan Leela, right? Killing of Putana, killing of Bakasur, Kamsa, killing Kuvalyapira, Chanukara, Mushtika, so many Herculean feats which no ordinary person, no ordinary child can do. But they will not be able to see that. Their eyes are blinded to see that. Like Duryodhana, when the Virat Rupa was shown in the assembly, Duryodhana could not see that Virat Rupa because their eyes are covered with the darkness. Only those who have the real eyes will realize the Supreme Lord. Others will still think, well, no. They will consider the holy dham as an ordinary place. They will consider Bhagavatam as a bunch of pages or some letters. Considering Tulsi as an ordinary plant, considering the Guru as an ordinary human being, considering the deities as some piece of metal or marble, considering Vaishnavas as ordinary, considering Mata Ganga as some ordinary water. These are all offenses. Whether Krishna and anything in connection to Krishna is transcendental. So, but not everyone is able to understand the Lord in that way, or things in connection. They look for something great. Oh, if he is Lord, then he must show something great feats. Then only I will believe. The one whose faith is less, they like to see some magic tricks. And even a spiritual master, like people would ask Prabhupada, hey, you are a great guru. What magic you have done? Can you show some magic? Because they're more interested in magic. They're more interested in some, if you are something great, then you must be able to do something which is ordinary people cannot do. And Prabhupada responded nicely. Look at these people. They had such an uncultured lifestyle, hippies, doing all sorts of nonsense things, breaking all the regulative principles. Now they have turned into pure devotees of God in just a matter of months and years. Can anyone do a bigger magic than that? This is the real magic of the spiritual master. So one should not, be running after magic or the Lord. The pure devotees are more interested in the sweetness of the Lord. Like the gopis are not looking, hey Krishna, what Herculean task you can do. Rather, they would complain, hey, you are the one who killed Arishtasura. Now you will suffer because of the sin of killing the bull demon and the calf demon. Who was it? Bakas? No, Arishtasura, right? Or now you have to purify yourself. So their love is so deep that the greatness is covered by the love of their sweetness. Even Krishna lifted Govardhan hill. None of them felt after Govardhan Leela that we are with someone who is the Supreme Lord of all lords, right? Because their love covered all that. And that Krishna loves more. That they're not running after the greatness of God. They're running after the sweetness of God. But of course, the sweetness comes after knowing the greatness, right? As we are reading currently in the Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada is mentioning in that chapter number 9, or chapter 10, I think. Chapter 10, yes. Many people say God is great, but not anyone or hardly few know how great is God. Prabhupada writes in the purport. So to know the Bhagwan ki bhagavata ko samajhna. Bhagwan ki bhagavata means the greatness of the Bhagwan or the Supreme Lord is important. Then only the sweetness will come. Therefore, even in the 10th canto, we are in the 10th canto, which is considered the sweet nectarian pastime. But Prabhupada is again and again reminding us about the greatness so that we don't take the sweetness cheaply. Right? So, any other thoughts or comments anyone has? Any additions?
Aristasura and Vatsasura, right, Prabhuji? Bull demon is Aristasura and calf is Vatsasura.
Yes, Vatsasura. And then the Radha-Kund, Shyam-Kund pastime happened after that. And Krishna had to purify himself. So he would kill so many demons, but they would not consider that, oh, he's something great, right? Rather they would complain, hey, you are you are a killer. you are now implicated in the sin. So that the Lord likes more. Okay, now we'll move on. Yes, you want to read?
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna devotees, Dandat Pranam Krishna Śrī Prabhupada. Yuvam mam putra bhavena brahma bhavena jaskrita chintayanto krutsneho yasyate madgatim param. Translation and purport based Divine Grace C.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Both of you, husband and wife, constantly think of me as your son. But always know that I am the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By thus thinking of me constantly with love and affection, you will achieve the highest perfection, returning home back to Godhead. Perfect. This instruction was by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to his father and mother, who are eternally connected with him, is especially intended for persons eager to return home back to Godhead. One should never think of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as an ordinary human being, as non-devotees do. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, personally appeared and left his instructions for the benefit of all human society. But fools and rascals unfortunately think of him as an ordinary human being and twist the instructions of Bhagavad Gita for the satisfaction of their senses. Particularly everyone commenting on Bhagavad Gita interpreters it for the sense gratification. It has become especially fashionable for modern scholars and politicians to interpret Bhagavad Gita as if it were something fictitious. And by their wrong interpretation, they are spoiling their own careers and the careers of others. The Krishna consciousness movement, however, is fighting against the principle of regarding Krishna as a fictitious person and of accepting that there was no battle of Kurukshetra, that everything is symbolic, and that nothing in Bhagavad Gita is true. In any case, if one truly wants to be successful, one can do so by rendering the text of Bhagavad Gita as it is. Śrī Caitanya Mahāprabhu especially stressed the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, Yare deke tare kaha Krishna Upadesha. If one wants to achieve the highest success of life, one must accept Bhagavad Gita as spoken by the Supreme Personality of God, Supreme Lord. By accepting Bhagavad Gita in this way, all of human society can become perfect and happy. It is to be noted that because Vasudeva and Devaki would be separated from Krishna when he was carried to Goloka, the residence of Nanda Maharaj, the Lord personally instructed them that they should always think him as their own son and as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That would keep them in touch with him. After 11 years, the Lord would return to Mathura to be their son, and therefore there was no question of separation. Very good. Thank you, Prabhuji. Wonderful purport by Śrīla Prabhupada. So we can see that Lord Krishna, he's telling his own, mother and father. Of course, they are eternally in the back home in Goloka. But he's also telling that, remember that I am your son, and also the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So just by thinking that, they will return back to home, back to Godhead. So Prabhupada also mentions that, the mundane scholars, they who has interpreted, as we know in India, there are hundreds and thousands of Bhagavad Gita versions available, but not many of them are very, very, authentic like Bhagavad Gita as it is. This is the only, pure authentic because it is as it is. And they also think, as you said, Prabhuji, avajananti mam mudha. So they are always thinking, Krishna as an ordinary person, and as you said, they think the Guru as an ordinary person, like whatever it is. But only way for us to go back to Godhead is just by studying the Bhagavad Gita and instructions of Lord Krishna, because even though he came here, he doesn't actually follow any varnashrama dharma or anything, but he led by example, and he was also under a guru of Sandipani Muni, even though he is cause of all causes, but he was there. So that's why I think Prabhupada is telling that there is no separation, because even though Krishna is going to be with Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata, but he'll be back after 11 years. Of course, they are transcendentally there with Krishna in Goloka. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please add. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Dear Prabhu, for so nicely reading and sharing. Constantly thinking of me. Krishna says, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmarya yutyacha manmanabha madbhakto mai chetasa. So many verses are there, but always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. This is the sum and substance of the Bhakti Yoga process. Satatam smartavya Vishnu vismartavya na jatuchit sarve vidhi nishedasyor etayor eva kinkaram. The goal, the essence of all the rules and regulations is to remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. All the other rules, all the other do's and don'ts are subservient to this rule, and that rule is rule number 1, always remember Krishna. That means to mold our life, to mold our lifestyle, to mold all our habits, our everything, our eating, sleeping, recreation, family, job, business, this, that, so that we can always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. Easier said than done, but the pure devotees are always doing that. So at least we can also strive towards that. For pure devotees, it's natural. They have a hard time forgetting Krishna. But for the poor devotees, like myself, it needs a lot of practice. We are practicing sadhakas. We're practicing devotees. So we have to practice to remember Krishna. Then we will also be able to get to the same goal. And that is back home, back to Godhead. This is what Krishna is himself telling, right? Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita also, but here he is again telling. Mat gatim param. You will attain the param gatim. Those who remember me, in short, Krishna is saying, they will attain chintayanto kritau snehau. Sneha, dealing with love and devotion. By thinking of me constantly with love and devotion, not like Kamsa mentality. Anukulyena Krishnanu, Shilanam Bhaktiruttama. Kamsa was also thinking, right? As we discussed this in great detail in Manmanabha Madbhakto. So in the devotee, one should think of Krishna in the favorable devotional attitude. And what is the devotional attitude? Love and devotion, love and affection. Patram pushpam phalam to yome bhaktya prayachati. Prabhupada translate bhaktya as with love and devotion over there as well. So Krishna likes that more. Let's read some verses from Caitanya-caritāmṛta in this connection. We'll just read the verse and the translations. They're very sweet verses in this chapter. Maybe those who have not read today or yesterday can read. Anyone? Basuki Mataji?
Pranam everyone. English to Srila Prabhupada. Text 21 to 22. মোর পুত্র মোর সখা মোর প্রাণপতি, এইভাবে যেই মোরে করে শুদ্ধ ভক্তি, আপনাকে বড় মানে আমারে সমহীন, সেইভাবে হই আমি তাহার অধীন। Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. If one cherishes pure loving devotion to me, thinking of me as his son, his friend, or his beloved, regarding himself as great and considering me his equal or inferior, I become subordinate to him.
Isn't this beautiful? So, such a nice words that if Krishna is saying, if someone considers him as lower, he likes it more. I become subordinate to him. I become his son. I become his friend. I become inferior, and he likes it more than someone. And we'll read the further verses also. Who wants to read this one? Shilpa Mataji, you want to read?
Sure, Prabhuji. Mayi bhaktir hi bhutanam amratatvaya kalpate disthayad asin matsneho bhavathinam mad apanaha. Translation: Devotional service rendered to me by the living beings revives their eternal life. O my dear damsels of Vraja, your affection for me is your good fortune, for it is the only means by which you have obtained my favor. Purport.
We'll just read the verses here.
Sure.
Yes, Nikant Prabhu, you want to read this one?
Sure, Prabhuji. Translation or shloka?
Yeah,
okay. Version. Okay. Sure, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa, everyone. Mata mor putra bhave karina bandha aitaina jnane kara lalana palana. Read. Translation.
Mother sometimes binds me as her son. She nourishes and protects me, thinking me utterly helpless. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Mata more putra bhave. The mother considers as a child karina bandhana. We know the famous Bandhan Leela, Damodar Leela, where Krishna was caught by the ropes, bound by the ropes. Atihina, hey, you are very poor. You don't know how to take care of yourself. You are running here and there. You will mess up your life. You will get hurt. You'll go to the forest. Your feet will get pricked with the thorns. Atihina, you don't know how to take care of yourself. You are poor in the sense you are childish. You are a child. You're a 2-year-old. You're a 5-year-old. I need to take care of you. Lalana palana, kare lalana palana. Krishna is the one who is running the whole show of the whole universe. He's doing the lalan palan of the whole universe, but he likes it more when he sees these devotees are doing his lalan palan. This is Krishna consciousness. This is higher love, which Mata Devaki here is. Let's see the next verse. Again, very beautiful. All these in series, very nice, sweet verses. Ravi Prabhu, you want to read? We have one more devotee, the giver, Prabhu. Kishan Prabhu, glad to see you after a long time. I've been thinking about
Prabhu.
you. How are you?
Doing good, Prabhuji. How are you doing?
Very good. So happy to have you after a long time. Would you like to read this verse?
Yes, allowed to.
Great, thank you. Please. Yeah, here.
Sakha Suddha Sakhya Kare Sakhande Arohara Tumi Kaun Bada Loka Tumi Ami Sama. My friends climbed on my shoulder in pure friendship, saying, "What kind of big man are you? You and I are equal."
Isn't that sweet? This is Krishna's friendly talks with his other friends. Krishna would, say, "Hey, if you don't allow me to play, I will not play here." Or so many pranks they will do. But the friends will say, "Hey, you think you're the son of Nand Maharaj? We will not allow you to play with us. You think you are great? We will kick you out of here, and you won't be allowed to play with us. What about you coming and playing with us?" So, Kare Sama, to me, Ami Sama. You are equal. You are not. You think you are great. A devotee, in a Dasya Rasa, never considers, like Lord Ram and Lord like Hanuman. Hanuman is primarily in the epitome of Dasya Rasa, right? Of course, he's doing so many miraculous services, but he was asked, "Hey, will you eat with us?" Lord Ram said, "Baba, no, I can't. You are my Ishwar, you are my master, you are my Pranath, you are my this, you are my that. How can I eat with you?" Right? No, you have to. I'm telling you, you come, you sit with me. Lord Ram was eating on the banana plate. No, sorry, I can't eat with you. Lord Ram said, "Okay, still, I divide this plate into half." Banana leaves are divided into half. That's the imprint of Lord Ram's finger. "Okay, you eat on that side, I eat on this side." Plate divided into two sections. Still, Lord Hanuman didn't agree to accept that proposal, right? Because the master and the servant cannot sit on the same platform, right? This is also an important Vaishnava etiquette also. Whenever we meet spiritual master, or whenever someone is speaking Bhagavatam Katha, they are sitting on the Vyasa Asana. They're sitting on the Vyasa Asana. They are representing Srila Vyasadeva. So our platform as the audience should always be lower than the speaker or the spiritual master. So one time in a yatra, the guru was sitting, at this level. There was a lot of steps, and the disciples were sitting on the steps all the way up. And then they were later told that this is not the right etiquette. So that relationship is different. But here, they're talking about the Sakhya Rasa. What they are saying, "Hey, tumi kaun bada log?" Apne aap ko in Hindi is like, "You think you are the son of a big man? You think you are a big shot? Tumi ami sama." Sam means same. You and me are equal. Don't talk big things with here. You think you want to play with us? We won't allow to play with you. Get out of here. They talk like that, like joking, playing pranks, and Skanda Arohana. They would climb on his back, right? They would play pranks. They would play different games and climb. Will a disciple get on Guru's back? Will a Dasya Rasa servant think of climbing on the Lord's back? Never, right? So, a lot of sweet verses in Adi Leela, pretty much talking about this context we are reading here, that Mother Devaki and they both, Yuvam, the word Yuvam is used. Tvam, Yuvam, Yuyam. Yuvam refers to you two. You two, Mam Putra Bhavina, Brahma Bhavina Chaskrita. You were constantly thinking of me as your son. Thinking of me. Chintayanto Krita Snehau. Nice words to remember. Not very difficult to remember. Chintayantu. Everyone is doing chinta. Chinta about wealth, chinta about health, wealth, property, what else? Taxes, fuel prices, right? So many chintas going on in the world. But pure devotees are doing chinta about the Supreme Lord as their beloved master, their beloved son, their beloved friend. Yes, yete madgatim param. The Lord is saying, in this way, you both shall attain my supreme, madgatim, my supreme abode, which is transcendental, param. One will certainly attain that. Yuva mam putra bhavina brahma bhavina chaskrita chintayanto kritau sneho yasyete madgatim param. I try to remember this verse if you like. Any other thoughts, comments before we pause for today? Yes, Shilpa Mataji, please.
Prabhuji, just not a question, but just to add, I mean, more clarification if you can. That's true. We are not equal to our guru, or we will not think, we will not have that thought that we are equal to our guru, right? We will follow them and we'll try to serve them. But if they are offering with prema anything, like the example that you gave, like Rama and Hanumanji, then it's out of love only, right? Why can't Hanuman take, right? Rama is so we know about Rama, right? If it is a true guru, obviously they wouldn't get mad about the devotees if they don't take. If they are mad, then they are not true guru. I mean, that's my thought, but he wouldn't be mad, I know. But he can take it, right, Hanumanji, because I mean, I don't know what happened there, but at least in our world, material world.
I mean, yeah, sometimes, the etiquette has to be there. Like I was hearing His Grace Śrī Caitanya-caritāmṛta in this connection. He's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada, not just a disciple, but one who personally served Srila Prabhupada for a very long time, massaging his body, cooking for him, and a lot of other personal services, serving his vapu. He was also in a similar situation. Not all in the time. Generally, Prabhupada would eat the prasadam by himself, and then the later Mahaprasad would be distributed, the remnants. But then they had gone to a temple, I don't recall the name. And then Prabhupada told Śrī Caitanya, okay, you also sit with me. And then he said, Prabhupada, no. How can the servant sit with the master? So he said 2-3 times, no, I can't sit with him. But Prabhupada firmly said, no, I'm telling you, you sit. Then, yes, he sat down and he said it was the best experience of my life. So ultimately, the call is to obey the order of the spiritual master. Yes, the general etiquette is yes, it should not be done. We should not be, okay, I'm also equal, because familiarity breeds contempt, right? If one does that out of every day, he's eating, I can also eat, I can be with him. So that may breed little, okay, I'm also same as him,
True.
He's also eating. So therefore, that respect, reverence is very important. But, once in a while, and in the situation, and the guru is telling, like in a firm way, that I'm telling you, you sit, don't let me repeat like 20 times, then yes, then one has to see the situation and do the needful.
Got it. Thank you, Prabhuji. That clarifies.
Thank you. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Kantraj Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Purana ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavinda ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.